through the workers' blood shall run. There can be no power greater anywhere beneath the sun. But what force on earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one? For the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. In a nurse's healing hands, a power greater than their goal. In a teacher's caring guidance, magnify 4,000,000-fold the might of brothers and of sisters, black and white and young and old. For the union makes us strong. Oh, solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. It is we who plowed the prairies, built the cities where they trade, dug the mines, built the workshops, endless miles of railroad laid. As thousands fled from falling towers, police and firefighters stayed. Our unions make us strong. Todos together. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. Oh, solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. For the union makes us Buenos días a todos. You know, I love singing that song. It was written in 1915 by a guy who went to school with Dennis Van Rokel, I heard. And please tell him I said that. And I was going to thank you for the honor of being here, except that someone told me why I was invited. They said, oh, you will be so motivational. Once people find out what it's like to teach in Utah, they start to feel pretty good about wherever it is they end up. Well, you know, and I will tell you that was a couple of years ago. Now it doesn't matter where you live. Utah, Virginia, New Jersey, Tennessee, Ohio, Florida, Wisconsin. Martin Luther King once said, we came to this place in different ships, but we're all in the same boat now. And we are now, exactly, we are facing the most outrageous, irresponsible, personal attacks, not only on our association, not only on public education, but on the entire middle class that so many of us serve. There's a presidential candidate who called something like Social Security a Ponzi scheme, which is a crime. And you have state legislators now that are using the same rhetoric to talk about our state pension plans. Anything that has the word public in front of it is a communist plot. It needs to be privatized. These are attacks on common sense, and we have never seen anything like it. I'm not saying that things haven't been bad. I'm saying we've never seen it like this bad. We've never seen it bad in 48 states at the same time. It's never been better in Utah than it was in Wisconsin. That's bad. Bad times have hit everybody. So I am here to tell you that with the barbarians at the gate, with the apocalypse upon us, with the tornado about to touch down on our trailer park, this is the perfect time to celebrate. When someone from Utah tells you it's time to party, you should listen. It doesn't happen every day. But when we do say it, we're serious about it. I am serious about celebrating. We need to bring people together. We need to have that party. We have been hit with everything they've got, and we're not down. We're still standing. My little state of Utah got hit by the biggest voucher piece of legislation on the planet. It was passed by the legislature in a heartbeat. The governor signed it with a big smile on his face, and they said, "We're done, let's go home." I mean, what could we do? Put it on a public ballot, on a referendum, and ask people to overturn the legislature? Oh yeah, let's do that. So our own members stood out in Kmart parking lots and got signatures. We got it on the ballot. We were outspent by the voucher pushers 2-to-1. Billionaires were backing the voucher bill. And we took a simple common sense message to the public. They agreed with us. And we overturned the Utah voucher law before one dime was wasted on vouchers. That's worth celebrating. The people who want to take us down now are getting more creative. They just learn from every one of their losses, and they're taking after us now in ways the public might not be so sympathetic to, in ways our own members might not be so sympathetic to. They dropped the A-bomb in Alabama. 100,000 Alabama members on payroll deduction overnight lost that payroll deduction. And so the public isn't going to rally over that. In all honesty, the law didn't outlaw payroll deduction. It allowed payroll deduction if you abstained from any political activity. Yes, it was an abstinence-only law. And they defined political activity so broadly that if a local president dared to put even an article in a local newsletter about an important piece of legislation that was before your House or Senate, that would be deemed political activity if you used one dime of money from dues deduction for it. And it would put that local president in criminal violation of the law. The Alabama legislature figured that they'd win either way. Either it would essentially gag the association from saying anything political, and you know that anything that touches your public school, college, or university means it was funded, it has a regulation, class size, curriculum, special education, school lunches, it doesn't matter. There's nothing that happens in a school that isn't political. They figured they'll essentially be silenced on any influence that we might have over a piece of legislation, or we'd go off payroll deduction and we would die a natural death from revenue starvation. The Alabama Education Association chose none of the above because we know how to take standardized tests now. They took about 2 minutes to shed a little tear and say a few swear words, followed by bless their hearts. Because you know that you can say any nasty little thing you want as long as you follow it with bless their hearts. Yes. And they rolled up their sleeves, and with some help from the NEA and from our tech gurus, who are now the glory boys and glory girls of our time, they proceeded on this massive membership drive to move 100,000 members off payroll deduction and onto electronic fund transfer, EFTs, on their bank accounts. And you can't imagine how much fun that was. Can you even imagine going to every single one of your members, personally, one by one, and asking them for a canceled check and a signature? Yes, you can. Yes, we can. You know, in Alabama, they felt like they were asking for their ATM card and a PIN number. And we don't have to imagine it. You're right. In Alabama, it's been about 9 months now, and of those 100,000 members, they have signed up 95,000 on payroll deduction. They are actually on a trajectory to pick up more members than they started with. I think that's worth celebrating. Let's do that. People are signing up like crazy, and they're mad. Members and non-members, whom I refer to as future members, they know what's going on. They know that someone is not out to destroy the union in order to help them with their pay and benefits. They know that something is being done to them. And they know this has nothing to do with balancing budgets. It's about destroying the voices of the advocates for public schools, for colleges, for universities, for the children who learn in them, for the families that they serve, and for the people who work for those families. They know that this is about something old, something that's been around for a long time. It's called political payback. But it's also about something new, because it's not about silencing your voice. It's not about hurting you. It's about destroying you. It's about making sure you don't exist by the time the next election comes around. And they're doing it in a national, coordinated, sophisticated, secretive campaign. I love conspiracy movies. A reporter asked me what kind of evidence I had that this was somehow national and coordinated. And I said, channel surf through any of the news organizations, any of them. You will hear the same governors, no matter if they're in New Jersey or Alabama or Utah. You will hear them all saying the exact same words, the exact same words. Governors who have never once supported any child safety, health care, governors who have never supported a dime towards class size reduction or better things for kids are saying with a straight face from a script, I'm for the kids, they're for the adults. They practiced that. Somebody market tested that, and they practiced in the mirror saying, I'm for the kids, until they could do it without giggling. There are pieces of legislation being introduced in legislatures across this country where it is word for word exactly the same, whether it's dues deductions in Alabama or collective bargaining in Wisconsin or attacking pensions in New Jersey. Everywhere legislation is being introduced, you can just cut and paste it. This is worse than any scripted reading lesson I have ever seen. And it's not about hurting us. It is about destroying us, because we have been the most effective, most passionate fighters for our members, yes, but we've also been that passionate for the students we serve and for the families we serve. We are modestly paid men and women. And we come together not because anybody makes us, but because we're smart enough to know that that's the only way that they will pay attention to us. They cannot ignore us. We're here because we're smart. Okay, some of us are here because we weren't smart enough to know that we were being lied to when someone said, would you like to be on a committee? It's just one meeting a month. Yeah. Okay, we got suckered into this, some of us, but we stayed because once we got involved, we got our eyes opened and we got to see, wow, this is how I can actually do something. If I love the families that I teach, if I love the students, if I love my community, if I really want to do something, instead of just sitting around and complaining in the faculty lounge. And by the way, every time we called the governor from the faculty lounge, he never took our call. If we want to be a force for good, coming together as a union is the only way ordinary people can do this. They cannot ignore us. Now, that doesn't mean that they like us. I have to admit that. I used to get the same phone call from the same guy practically every week, very nice man, who I truly respected, rock rib Republican, would call me once a week and say, you know, I'm watching the news and I'm telling you, they're really mad at you. I think if you guys just stopped getting involved in politics, they'd like you a lot better. And I would listen politely, I'd let him finish, and then I would always say, Dad, we don't actually care if they like us. We care if they respect us. We care that they know that we intend to hold them accountable, to not do stupid things. I used to want them to do smart things. I've given that up. I've lowered the bar. If they just stop doing stupid things, I mean, that would just be okay with me. We are a force, and they have to reckon with us. They don't like a lot of people, but they're after us in particular. Why? Because we actually have the power to do something about it. We are modestly paid men and women. We are ordinary citizens. We are ordinary people who have decided to do extraordinary things with our lives. We come together so that we can be powerful enough to do good things with that power. Here's a number they hate. 1 in every 100. 1 in every 100 Americans is a member of the NEA. That's a good number. I think we should celebrate that. We're really, really big, but we also know that we can't win the hearts and minds of the public all by ourselves. So we need friends to come to our party. We need civil rights activists like the NAACP and the Hispanic advocates like LULAC and La Raza who spoke up against the attacks on collective bargaining in Wisconsin and Ohio. They reminded the public what Martin Luther King was doing in Tennessee when he was killed. He was there supporting the sanitation workers, a public sector union, in their struggle for economic justice and dignity. And we need parents on our side. My friend got a Twitter from a parent group called Big Education APE, A-P-E, A Parent Engaged. This is a group which is in desperate need of a marketing firm to find a better acronym. And is organizing parents virtually to contact their state legislators and complain about what budget cuts are doing to things like class size. That when you lose a teacher, when you lose the support staff, when you can't afford to send your kid to the university, that it's the children who suffer. And they are there fighting for our jobs because our jobs are there to help their students. We need people who don't actually like us all the time to be on our side. These guys are kind of hard to find, but not impossible. Actually, the attacks against us are so outrageous and so unfair that people that often criticize us are saying, whoa, wait a minute here. And we're being defended by people who don't actually like us very much. People like Rick Hess. He'd probably be very proud to be called a conservative education researcher and writer for the American Enterprise Institute, a very libertarian think tank. He does not like public pension plans. He likes pay by test scores. But once I was on a panel debating vouchers with him, and I said something, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I know it was brilliant. And he stopped and he said, you know, I never actually thought of that. You have a good point, which was really, really cool for two reasons. First, I don't usually have a point, and so that was nice. And second, he disagreed with me, but he wasn't such an ideologue that he couldn't stop and go, well, yeah, that's true. Let's talk about that. He was not trying to make me into a monster. The important thing today to recognize is whether it's from the far, far left or the far, far right, people who can't make their point any other way are just calling their opponents evil. So if you believe in affordable health care, you're a Nazi. If you believe in Social Security, you're a communist. If you believe in your state pension plan, you're a terrorist. I was impressed by someone who could say, I absolutely disagree with you. We should talk about that. Let me hear your evidence. So after the debate, Rick and I decided that once a month we would have a burger and a beer, and we would get together and talk about why I was right and he was wrong. And he would bring someone like Teach for America to come and have our burger and a beer. And I would bring someone who taught English as a second language, and we'd talk about the incredible needs that our students are coming to us for. And actually, the main agenda was to eat the hamburger, but it was also to get to know each other as human beings. So we'll argue about pay by test scores and why that doesn't really work, but we'll also talk about the crappy evaluation systems, that's a technical term, and how really we do need to come up with something better that actually works for us and works for our students. The point is, we'll disagree on a lot of things, but we actually have a chance to learn something from each other that might just move us to a better place. And I think it's working. Let me give you an example. He really likes the concept of charter schools, but he hated waiting for Superman because he thought it was dishonest. And here's what he wrote in Education Week for millions of people to see. Movies that sell charter schools as a salvation are peddling a simple-minded remedy that takes us back to the worst charter puffery of a decade ago. It's at odds with the evidence, and it can blind viewers to what it takes to launch a truly great charter. They also wildly romanticize charters, charter school teachers and kids and families, and they make it harder to speak honestly or bluntly. This is very cool. By the way, he is not going to write anything we like about our pension plans, but he's a very influential writer. Everybody quotes him. And I like to think that the more he gets to know us and the actual people who are members and leaders in our association, the more he sees that we're trying desperately to do something better for our students. And I know that if we're being honest, we don't have anything to fear from an honest discussion about what's working and what's not working, and our responsibility to step up and lead the changes that we need. So we're learning there are no permanent enemies. Lord knows we have no permanent friends. That would be nice. So we're focusing on issues. We're making sure everything centers on the student, and we're trying not to demonize people. How many of you love Diane Ravitch? Okay, she's just amazing. She wrote this fabulous book on how privatization and standardized testing were destroying public education. She won our Friend of Education award. How many of you loved Diane Ravitch 10 years ago when she was the main architect for a little thing we call No Child Left Untested? We did not give her an award for consistency. We gave her an award because she was honest enough that after 10 years, she looked at the evidence and she went, whoa, this is making things worse. It's wrong. And she was honest enough to say that. So we need to celebrate something like that. We need to celebrate that there are people who don't actually like us, but who can reach us, and that we can reach every now and then on very important issues. I could not defend the evaluation system that my district used when I taught at Orchard Elementary in Utah when I was there. And I always got great evaluations, which were mostly based on a foundation of good bulletin boards. And I had really, really great bulletin boards. I know we can do better than that. I want to celebrate how many of our locals and state leaders, so many of you in this room right now, who are fearlessly exploring ways that you can do better. You might actually find ways that says an evaluation system that makes good teachers better teachers, that helps struggling teachers find mentors. I love it that so many of our state and local leaders aren't waiting for some politician to get this right. Nobody lives that long. I love it that we want to lead the design of something better. And it's very, very risky. And it's very, very cool. That said, we must never lower our guards against those who don't just disagree with us on an issue. There are people who have literally declared war on us. They want to destroy us by any means necessary, sometimes for their own financial gain. They are not looking for solutions. Now, we often win because we're big, because we're powerful, and we can stop them from doing the bad things they want to do. And so they hate us. We're not looking for a solution. They are looking to destroy us. That's their solution. They are not big, by the way. You could fit them around a table. They just have really, really big wallets, okay? These are sometimes billionaires. They own media empires. They own global corporations. NEA has just completed an exhaustive research to look into our own membership. You would be shocked to find how few billionaires we have working in America's public schools, colleges, and universities. We didn't actually find too many of our members who are really, really rich. All we have ever had is each other. That's something to celebrate. We're in rural districts and big cities and bargaining states and right to work for less states, and we're teachers and we're school secretaries and college professors, retirees, counselors, custodians, student teachers. We're in different occupations. We're in different locations. The ties that bind us go beyond race, religion, politics, gender, nationality. You and I are part of that brotherhood and sisterhood of educators. We see that school as more than our place of employment. That school is our cause. And so, brothers and sisters, hermanos y hermanas, let us celebrate who we are. I am so convinced that who we are is actually our best defense in times of these attacks. You are in this room right now because you are not the kind of person who, when you're being attacked, crawl under the bed and hope that someone fixes it, and that you can crawl out when it's all over. You stand up proudly and you celebrate. I was at the party last night. You are not afraid to celebrate in ways that I found slightly disturbing. Having that much fun cannot be healthy, I'm thinking. But you stand up, unafraid, totally fearless, and you show the world who you are. We are professionals. We set high standards for ourselves as well as our students, and we brag about what it is we do. Please brag about what it is you do. You have to believe in yourself before you've earned the right to ask anyone else to believe in you. What you do for your students is the great hope of our great country. 1 in every 100 Americans gets up every morning caring about someone else's child. We love our students. Okay, we don't love them with that cutesy, like, oh, I just love those darling boys and girls. Teachers with that attitude are eaten alive by second graders on the 3rd day of school. Their pictures end up on milk cartons. We never see them again. People who stay. We love our kids enough to insist on self-discipline. We love our kids enough to nag them when we know they could do better. We love our kids enough to show pride in their accomplishments and their successes. This is not just a job for us, and it never could be. So we should celebrate what we've done for so many years to make things better and better and better for our students and for their families. We should celebrate the power of our collective voice, local, state, and national. We should celebrate that we will never be silent, and the most powerful people on this planet cannot silence us. We should celebrate that we cannot be stopped because we believe in ourselves. We believe in our work. We believe in each other. It's like air. It's what we breathe. We should celebrate what keeps us going, and what keeps us going is that we know our purpose. We know what's at stake. We know what that school has to be for our students to succeed. And we have our mission written across our hearts. Give me your hungry children, your sick children, your homeless, your abused children. Give me your children who need love as badly as they need learning. Give me your children who have talents and gifts and skills, and give me those that have none. Give them all to me. In whatever shape they come, whatever color their skin, whatever language they speak, wherever they find God, give them to me. Because this is a public school, and the people in this public school will give you the doctors and the engineers and the carpenters. We'll give you the ministers and the lawyers and the teachers of tomorrow. We'll give you the mothers and the fathers and the thinkers and the builders and the artists and the dreamers. We will give you the American dream. We will give you the future. That is the future you're fighting for. That's why you're sitting in this seat. Muchísimas gracias, mis hermanos y hermanas. Gracias por este honor. Thank you for the honor of being here with you today.